Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parashat Chukat. Chukat is well known for two main sections that are familiar to many of us, as well as at the end of the Torah portion, some discussion of the journeys of the children of Israel. The first part that most people are familiar with is the section which we read on Parashat Parah, one of the special Shabbatot leading up to the holiday of Passover. This first chapter describes the ritual of purification after one comes into contact with a body of a deceased person. It's a very strange ritual in which a pure red heifer is burned until there's nothing left but ash, mixed with a few other things, and then sprinkled on a person. After 7 days, they become ritually pure again. Right after that is the incident of the waters of Meribah, where the children of Israel arrived at a spot and there was no water to drink. Moses got very exasperated, spoke with God. God said, "Speak to the rock, and water will come forth." But Moses was so angry at the people that he struck the rock instead. The water still came forth, but God informed Moses that because he had broken faith with the Lord, that he would not be able to make it into the promised land. So those are the two big events that happen in this week's Torah portion. Of course, what's always been quite interesting to me is the very beginning, the section that we read on Parashat Parah, the section having to do with the ritual of the red heifer. The rabbis of our tradition, the sages, also found this to be a very problematic passage. It just makes no sense. As a matter of fact, when we have a law in Judaism that doesn't seem to make sense, it's called a chok, which is from the same word as chukat, as opposed to a mishpat, which is a law which is logical, like don't steal and don't commit murder and having fair weights and balances. But this is a law that really, why you should become ritually impure in the first place, and why slaughtering a red calf and burning it to ash and mixing it with water and sprinkling it would make someone ritually pure again is really a mystery to us. And the rabbis said that this was perhaps a sign in the Torah of a test to the children of Israel to see if they would follow God's word, even if it made sense or it didn't. And I think it reminds us of how challenging it can be sometimes, even to follow the commandments, which are mishpatim, those which make sense to us. But again, challenge us to think about the reasons why we follow the commandments, or perhaps don't follow some of the commandments. The yortzites that we observe this week at Beth El, the Heights Synagogue, are for Jacqueline Bruder Zucker, Sam Math, Bernard David Friedlander, Ruth Silverman, Nancy Jean Hall Landis, Norman Halpern, Sarah Bat Rachel V'Yisrael, and Samuel Letterman. Wishing you all Shabbat Shalom.